All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to open up with the book of the law, Exodus, the 20th chapter. As always, Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. Go ahead and read, brother.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all them in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Yes, sir. That was the covenant, the 10, Exodus 20, 1 through 17. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. As Brother Julius would say, let's bend our Bibles over to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, verse 13 through 14. They don't be thinking I be listening, but I do. Bend them Bibles. Okay, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. Go ahead, brother.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Yes, sir.
For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Yes. Let's go to our last one. Revelations chapter 22. Last book of the Bible, very last chapter. Let's see what the Lord has to say. Revelations chapter 22 and verse 13 through 15. Go ahead and read, brother.
I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
Yes.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Yes, indeed. That concludes the reading of the law. I want to welcome everybody. Good afternoon again, and welcome everybody here to the Israel of God Bible study class. I am your teacher, Brother Kevin, and reading for me is our brother Rob. And we teach by subject and title. Subject today is fear. We're dealing with the fear of God. The title is The Fear of God, the Great Motivation. The fear of God, the great motivation. I remember when I did this lesson on Blog Talk. This was one of Ramona's, Sister Brown. This was one of her favorite lessons. She used to always say, Hey, I need to get that on this, brother, But a lot of the time, sisters and brothers, this is what we lack. And this is what we forget sometimes. And this is what we need in order to serve God. Because especially Israel, we forget who our creator is. And sometimes he always have to remind you by putting some, like I don't really want to say it like that, but like to put some knots upside your head in order to remind you that he's the one you're supposed to deal with. And dealing with that fear. Love, fear. People always like to say, God love you. He ain't gonna do nothing to you. He love you. He want to wrap his arms around you. Well, you forgetting about the fear, because you can read that throughout the Bible, all over the Bible. Fear, fear, fear. So why would he say fear? A person that love you can cross you. And they will, 100 times over. But the one that you fear, you're gonna be very cautious of the one that you fear, because you know that individual do not play. And you know there's some repercussions coming behind it if you cross that individual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We know that, right?
Yes.
So let's start this lesson in Romans, the 15th chapter. Romans chapter 15. Let's let Paul start us off. Romans chapter 15. Because we forget about it and we need it. Without fear, you do what you want. You make your own decisions, your choices. You could care less what God wants from you, what he say, and so on and so forth. And that's the very thing that'll get you cut off, is because you don't have fear. These are a lot of the ingredients that goes with the serving the Lord, okay? Romans, the 15th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Romans 15 and verse 4. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read it.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Wait a minute. So whatever was written aforetime, it was written for our what, brother?
Our learning.
Our learning. So we heard to learn what happened in the days of old. Go ahead and read. What else?
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Wait a minute. He said, even though you're reading about it, he said, this is where you get your comfort from. And this is where you also get what? He said, might have hope through patience, though, right?
Yes.
Because you're going through these things, but you need those. What else we going to do? We're going to show you an individual that feared God. And with fearing him, he wouldn't depart from him. Let's go to Job, one of my very, very favorite individuals in the Bible that serve God. Let's go to Job, the 1st chapter. Let's see what he had in order for him to fear the Lord, or in order for him to walk hand in hand with the Lord. Let me put it that way. And the Lord gonna give him a title too. Job chapter 1. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 1. Job chapter 1 and verse 1. All right, go ahead and read, brother.
There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God, and from escheweth evil.
Wait a minute, one that did what, brother?
He feared God.
He feared God. So what they're letting us know? That we need to fear God. Because guess what it said? It said that he was perfect and upright. Go ahead and read. What else?
And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters.
Yes.
His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household.
Yes, sir. Skip down to verse 10. So now we see that he had a great abundance of things. The Lord allowed him to be very prosperous. And he had 10 children, 7 sons, 3 daughters. Skip down to verse 6. I feel sorry for anybody trying to mess with them girls, boy, because you got 7 brothers to protect them. And a God that don't play no games. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But skip down to verse 6, brother, and read that.
There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
Yes, sir.
And Satan came also among them.
Hold on. So when the sons of God, these are the reporters. So when they came, here comes Satan. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?
Yes.
That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil.
He said the same thing to Satan. He said, have you considered Job? And then he gave you his resume and told him what he do. He said that he's a perfect and upright man that feared God and escheweth evil. So he hates sin. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught?
He said, listen, he said, does the Job fear you for nothing? Go ahead and read.
Hast not thou made a hedge about him?
Oh, you got protection around him, so that's why. And you gave him great substance. Go ahead and read.
And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side.
Yes, sir. What else?
Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
Yes, sir. Things started happening. He kept on debating until the Lord removed his hand and allowed Satan to do something. Let's go to chapter 2. Chapter 2, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Same book, chapter 2, and verse 1. He told him, he said twice that this guy feared him and escheweth evil, didn't he? And called him perfect and upright. Man, I hope the Lord can say that about me. You know what I'm saying? I hope that's what he's about all of us in there. Put it that way. You should want the Lord to have that wrote down about you in his mind, you know, or in this book. So now, 2 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord.
Uh-oh, he ain't done. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Yes, sir.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
Yes, sir. And he said it again, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
And still he holdeth fast his integrity.
Wait a minute. He said he's still holding fast his integrity because he had already started destroying his property and stuff, killed his children and everything. Go ahead.
Although thou motivest me against him to destroy him without cause.
He said, you moved me against him to destroy him without a cause. So ultimately, who is in control? God is. He said, you moved me. Why? By merely coming and accusing this man to what he gonna do and what he ain't gonna do. Go ahead and read, brother.
And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin. Yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life.
Look at him, steady bargaining. Go ahead and read.
But he put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
He said, but put forth your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh. I bet he gonna curse you to your face. This is what he telling them. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life.
Okay, now, so we know who the one is. The hand that he talking about that touching is none other than Satan. I'm the belt. So he said, all right, he is in your hand, but do not kill him. Go ahead.
So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his feet unto his crown.
So when you get sick sometimes and it pop up out of nowhere, that don't necessarily mean you doing no sinning. And shit, don't let nobody come telling you that you petition your Lord. Because sometimes Satan is doing this right here. And for the Lord to think you worthy to call you and say, hey, have you considered my servant Kev, Rob, any of my brothers and sisters out there in the audience, have you considered any of those? Go ahead and read.
And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity?
Wait a minute. So he's scraping them boils, and I don't know how I feel, but they said that them boils are painful. So he's scraping them. Man, it had to be hurt. Go ahead.
Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die.
Look at what the woman said. Her first thing when trouble came is, wait a minute now, that's a little bit too much. Curse God. First of all, she said, you still gonna maintain your integrity? Curse God and die. Let's see what he do. Go ahead.
But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What shall we receive God at the hand of God?
Wait a minute. What he said, shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? So wait a minute, you get the blessings, you good. But when the evil come, now you want to fold. No, it don't work like that. With the sweet, there's bitter. With the sugar, there's salt. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
With up, down, right?
Yes.
In, out. Come on now. Go ahead and read.
And shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips?
Listen, he said, and shall not we receive evil? He said, in all this did not Job sin with his lips? Didn't say what he was thinking about, but he didn't open his mouth, did he? Kept that mouth shut. Because sometimes you battling this man up here. So, but he did not sin. He said he didn't sin with his lips. I will always keep that to heart, that he didn't sin with his mouth. Let's go to Genesis, the 22nd chapter. Let's look at somebody that was just as great. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. Let's look at Abraham. Because sometimes this is when the Lord find out about us. When he put you in the fire, let's see what you can handle. Let me see what you can handle. Let me see what you made out of. Genesis chapter 22, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham.
Wait a minute, God don't tempt nobody. We're going to show you that right there in Hebrew is going to mean something else when you get to the Greek. But go ahead and read.
And said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here am I.
Here I am. Right, go ahead.
And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac.
He called him his only son, but wasn't it? Did he have another boy?
Yes.
What was his name? Ishmael. What this letting us know that this is the one that God recognized. This is the one of the covenant. Go ahead and read.
Whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of.
He told him to do that. And when you keep reading, Abraham then asked him, hey, you know what you gonna have me do to my son, and why you want to do this, and what's that for? Are you sure that in the morning? I can't wait till the afternoon. my only son. What you want me? He didn't do none of that. Jump down to verse 9 and read, brother. Verse 9, and let's see what he say.
And they came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there,
Yes.
and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
He laid him upon the altar upon the wood. Go ahead.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son.
Yes.
And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said,
Who did?
Angel of the Lord.
The angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven. But Abraham is not afraid. He finna kill his child. Go ahead and read, brother.
And said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I.
Here am I. Go ahead.
And he said, Lay not thy hand upon that lad.
Lay not thy hand upon that child. Go ahead.
Neither do thou anything unto him.
Why?
For now I know that thou fearest God.
I know that thou do what, brother?
Fearest God.
He said, I know you fear God now. I told you to do something. You didn't question me. You did it. That means you fear me. Go ahead and read. What else?
Seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
See, he said, seeing that you didn't withhold your only son from me. This is none other than the Father showing us how he was with his son, Jesus. When it was time to offer him, he let him go, didn't he?
Yes.
Abraham is just a precursor to who? The Father showing us that he was doing the same thing. He was going to do the same thing with who? His son. Let's go to Hebrews, the 11th chapter, because we want to show you when it said tempt him. God don't tempt man, according to the book of James. Book tell you man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust. But Hebrews, the 11th chapter, and we're going to read one verse. No, we're going to read more than one. I should have put 17 through 19. So we're going to read 17 through 19. Go ahead and read, brother.
By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son.
Hey, did we read about that?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read. What happened?
Of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Yes, sir. And what happened?
Accounting that God was able to raise him up.
Wait a minute. What did Abraham know? That God can raise him up. If he kill him,
Yes.
he going to raise him up. Go ahead and read.
Even from the dead, from
Yes.
whence also he received him in a figure.
In a figure. So the Lord showed him what? He understood that the resurrection was going to happen. Abraham knew these things because Abraham is a prophet. Abraham is definitely a prophet, sisters and brothers. Let's go take a look at something else. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter, to another great individual named Moses. He dealing with all of Israel. And the Lord finna tell Moses, I want you to tell Israel something for me. What I require of them. Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter. So far, everybody moving because of fear. Everybody is moving because of fear. Deuteronomy chapter 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 12. 10 and verse 12. Go ahead and read.
And now, Israel, what doth thy Lord thy God require of thee?
Wait a minute. What he asking Israel, what do the Lord require of thee? Go ahead.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
But to do what?
To fear the Lord thy God.
Say that one more time.
To fear the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
To walk in all his ways.
Yes, sir.
And to love him.
Yes.
And to serve the Lord thy God.
So ain't nothing wrong with loving him, but he still said fear. Because he ain't no joke either. Go ahead and read.
And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and
Yes.
with all thy soul.
And with all thy what?
heart,
soul.
and soul.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and read.
To keep the commandments of the Lord
Yes.
and his statutes,
Yes.
which I command thee this day for thy good.
For what?
Thy good.
For thy good. Go ahead.
Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God. The
Yes.
earth also with all that therein is.
He said, listen, behold, the heaven and the heavens is the Lord thy God's, the earth also and all that therein is. So where can you go? What can you do? You can't do nothing you can't even escape this God. If you die, guess what? He got to wake you up at some point. And you still got to face him. And when you come up out the ground, no more flesh and blood. We talking spiritual beings now. And he talking about you feeling something forever. This is scary, and we need to know this. We need to understand this. Let's go to Joshua, the 3rd chapter. Joshua, the 3rd chapter. Joshua, the 3rd chapter. Let's look at what Joshua gonna say. Because now the Lord put it on the men. He said, wait a minute, if I'm going to have representatives, they going to have the same thing, because you got to have that same respect and that fear for who? Them. And we ain't talking about fear like shaking, but you're going to have that reverence for them just like you would for God. Why? Because God the one chose these individuals to do what? To watch over his sheep until he returned. We got to give an account of the of his sheep. So now, Joshua the 3rd chapter, we're gonna pick it up at verse 7, brothers. 3 and verse 7. Let's see what it say, brother. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel.
Yes, sir. What else?
That they may know that as I was with Moses, so will I be with thee.
Wait, I want them to know the same way I was with Moses, that's how I'm going to be with you. And we know that Moses wasn't no joke, and neither was every time he dealt with Israel, he fell to the ground. The Lord always came to Moses' cause. So now, keep on reading, verse 8.
And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, when ye are come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand still in Jordan.
Is he asking them something, or is he commanding them? He said he commanded, didn't he? He commanded the priest to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Skip down to verse 15, brother, and read.
And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all its banks all the time of harvest.
Yes, sir. What else?
That the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam.
Yes, sir.
That is beside Zerton. And those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea failed and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho.
Yes, sir. One more. Go ahead.
And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan. And all the Israelites passed over on dry ground.
Ain't that what he told them to do?
Yes.
Stand still, right? And they did it. Go ahead and read.
Until all the people were passed clean over Jordan.
Until all the people was passed clean over the Jordan. Let's go into the 4th chapter. The 4th chapter, because if you don't do what the Lord say, something could have happened to them. So there's a method to his madness when the Lord say something, or to his righteousness. Let me put it that way. A method to his righteousness. Go right over to chapter 4, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14. 4 and verse 14. He said, I'm going to be with you like I was with Moses. And Joshua was the greatest general that Israel had, that you can chase down and look at. It was the greatest general. So now 4 and verse 14, what does it say?
On that day, the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel.
He did what? Magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and what they do?
And they feared him.
And they what?
They feared him.
Wait a minute, they did what again?
They feared him.
That's right, brother. Go ahead.
As they feared Moses.
Yes.
All the days of his life.
Some of the days.
All the days of his life.
Skip down to verse 23, brother. Go ahead.
For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan from before you, until you were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea.
Yes, sir.
Which he dried up from before us, until we were gone over.
Yes, sir. What else?
That all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty.
Yes.
That ye might fear the Lord your God forever.
That you might fear for how long?
Forever.
Forever. You think the angels up there just, okay, we just kicking it, we okay, we just, no, they fear him. They fear him. Is there love there? Of course, but they fear him just as well. Let's move forward into the future. Let's go to 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter. This is after Saul, the first king out of the tribe of Benjamin. He said he got sat down, or the Lord was done with him. The 16th chapter, and here come the priest Samuel. The Lord sent him on a mission, and let's see how the people respond or react to him when he's coming to their town. First thing they gonna do, you don't have this like that now. Now the police got to show up, and even when the police show up, some of us don't ain't fear them now. They like, and what? You on my property, you know. Don't be no reverence or no fear there. And the Lord told you, he gave them the sword, man, they'll kill you. 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul?
How long are you going to mourn for this guy? Go ahead.
Seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel. Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
He said, listen, fill him with the horn of oil and go. Go ahead and read.
And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take a heifer with thee and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord.
Now he said, if he heard, he gonna kill me. Go ahead.
And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee.
He said, I'm gonna show you which one. Go ahead.
And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably?
Wait a minute. So here he come into town, to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming and said, comest thou peaceably? In other words, ain't nobody did nothing, did they? Is there any kind of drama going on? What happened? Something wrong? Go ahead and read, brother.
And he said peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord.
Yes, sir.
Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice.
Yes, sir. Let's go look at somebody else that's going to speak on this fear so we can continue to gain understanding through this foundation that the Lord is putting on the table. Let's go to Proverbs, the 16th chapter. Let's go look at Solomon. All that wisdom the Lord borrowed or loaned to Solomon. The same way he loaning it to us. He say, because when a man died, he can't think no more. He can't talk no more. That wisdom is departed from him. The one that gave it to him, he's sitting on the throne. Proverbs, the 16th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 6. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 6, because this is what motivates you. If this don't scare you into walking straight with God, then the only thing you got waiting for you is something that you're going to wish, which is something that we don't even want to, that we're going to read about a little later. But now 6, Proverbs 16 and verse 6. Go ahead and read, brother.
By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged.
Yes, sir.
And by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil.
Wait a minute. He said, by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged. And by the fear of the Lord, men depart from what, brother?
They depart from evil.
Oh, what got us up in there? Fear. Why? Because we know if we don't, then guess what? The Lord gonna deal with us. Off with the head, right? We don't want none of that drama. Go ahead and read verse 7, brother.
When a man's ways please the Lord,
yes, sir,
he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Wait a minute now, brother. Y'all heard that? Read that one more time, brother.
When a man's ways please the Lord,
when your ways please the Lord, what happened?
He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
Sometimes that happened. That person that didn't like you, and that was an enemy, now they like you. He said, when your ways please the Lord, he maketh his enemies be at peace with him. So now, let's back up to the 3rd chapter. The 3rd chapter of Proverbs. Matter of fact, before we go there, let's go to Jonah, the 3rd chapter. Let's go to Jonah, the 3rd chapter. Chapter 1, Jonah was told, go to Nineveh. And I want you to warn those people to turn from them ways. Because the sin and the wickedness has come up before me. And we read this, I believe, last Sabbath. And guess what he did? They ran, man. They bagged up. Well, Jonah did. He took him a flight, took him a little trip. Till the Lord threw him over that ship. Until he jumped over. And then he allowed that whale to swallow him up. And then he told us he was having hell up in that well. You can read that out of the book. He said he was having hell up in there. Going through hell. But let's see. Now, when the Lord told him to go do it, in chapter 3, let's go look at something. Chapter 3, once he allowed that whale to vomit him up on dry ground, let's see what happened. Because he spent 3 days and 3 nights there. Jesus even compared himself being in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights to the Jonah right here. He said, as Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, he said, the Son of Man shall be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. You got to always count both 3 days and 3 nights. You can't get that from Friday to Sunday. Because you got to have 3 days and 3 nights. If you don't believe me, take you a trip. So Jonah chapter 3 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the 2nd time, saying, arise, go into Nineveh, that great city, and preach unto it the preaching that I bid thee.
That I what?
Bid thee.
Command you. Because guess what? It was fear that shook him up, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Saying, you going to do what I say do. And guess what? Skip down to verse 4 and read.
And Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey. And he cried and said, yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown.
Now he's crying out to the people. He said, y'all got 40 days and the Lord going to destroy this place. Go ahead and read, brother.
So the people of Nineveh believed God.
They
And
did what?
They believed God
Oh, that's the beginning of it. Go ahead.
and proclaimed a fast
That's right. And did what?
and put on sackcloth from the
Yes.
greatest of them even to the least of them.
Yes, sir. He said from the highest, whether the kings and the dignitaries, he said always to the least of the people. Go ahead and read.
For word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, and he laid his robe from him, and covered him with sackcloth and sat in ashes.
Yes, sir. What else happened?
And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his noble, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything.
Wait a minute. He said, I won't even beasts, the herd, the flock, none of them. I don't want them to taste anything. Go ahead and read, brother.
Let them not feed nor drink water.
No, sir. Go ahead.
But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth and cry mightily unto God.
That's right. Go ahead.
Yea, let them turn everyone from his evil way and from the violence that is in their hand.
What do you want them to turn from, brother?
Their evil way.
That's what we read in Proverbs, the 16th chapter. Go ahead and read, though.
Who can tell if God will turn and repent?
We don't know if God gonna turn and repent. In other words, regret what he finna do to you. Go ahead and read.
And turn away from his fierce anger,
Yes.
that we perish not.
He put a question mark there. Who can tell? Go ahead and read.
And God saw their works, that they turned from their evil way.
He saw this thing. He said they turned from that evil. He saw it. Go ahead and read.
And God repented of the evil
Yes.
that he had said that he would do unto them, and he did it not.
So now 40 days expired. They still living. Why? Because they turned from their sin. This is what the Lord wants the whole earth to do. This was our job, and we did not do it. We set the most poorest example. He said, y'all was my messengers, and you failed to send my message throughout the earth. They had a God. You said, let me go see what's going on over there, all that noise. And, oh, they over there kicking it. Let us go get down with it too. Instead of correcting them, you went and partake. That's why the Lord said, you have taught the evil ones their ways. If you had torn down their groves and their images, the Lord would have dealt with it. And they would have saw it. But we strengthened the hand of the evil. Why are we keeping, why you think Christmas is so known and popular today? Nobody stopped it. Everybody participated in it. So now, we read 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's go back to Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. See how the Lord do not play. When he say do it, do it. Ain't no rhyme or reason with them. They're gray area. Let me see. No, you do it or you don't. Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. Pick it up at verse 11, because this is what the Lord did to them. Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, and verse 11. 3 and verse 11, my brother. Go ahead and read.
My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction.
Wait a minute. So they was being chastened, and he turned around and corrected them, just like he did Job. Go ahead and read.
For whom the Lord loveth, he corrected.
Not Job, I meant Jonah, but go ahead.
Even as the Father, the Son, in whom he delighted.
Wait a minute. It said the Lord said he loved you if he corrected you. So you should be worried if he not. If the Lord overlooking it and you think everything going well in your life, something wrong. I mean, everything perfect. Not even so much as ingrown fingernail gonna happen to you. Lord said, okay, something going on now. Somebody got to do a self-check. Let's go to Job, the 28th chapter. Bag up to Job, the 28th chapter. Job chapter 28. Job finna point out his creation a little bit. And he gonna tell us some things about the wisdom of the Lord here. Job chapter 28. And we're going to pick it up at verse 20. And verse 20. Go ahead and read, brother, when you get it.
Whence thou cometh wisdom, and where is the place of understanding?
He said, what now? Read 20 one more time.
Whence then cometh wisdom?
Whence then cometh wisdom? Where do it come from then? Go ahead.
And where is the place of understanding?
Where's the place of understanding? He asking these questions. Skip down to 23. See if we can get an answer. Go ahead.
God understandeth the way thereof.
Yes.
And he knoweth the place thereof.
God understand where it come from, and he know the place of it, right?
Yes.
Go ahead and read, brother.
For he looketh to the ends of the earth.
Yes, sir.
And seeth under the whole of heaven.
Wait a minute. He looking to the ends of the earth, and he see it under the whole heaven. Go ahead and read.
To make the weight for the winds.
Yes.
And he weigheth the waters by measure.
Which one of us can say how much the weight of the ocean is? The rivers, the seas. None of us can count the weight of that. He even said the wind. Go ahead and read.
When he made a decree for the rain.
Yes.
And a way for the lightning of the thunder.
He made a way for the decree. He said when he made a decree for the rain. In other words, he got set times for this stuff to happen. Go ahead and read.
Then did he see it and declare it?
Yes, sir.
He prepared it.
He prepared it, yeah.
Yea, and searched it out.
He searched it out. Go ahead and read.
And unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord.
Wait a minute, unto man, what did he say to us?
Behold, the fear of the Lord.
The fear of the Lord right here, right? Go ahead and read. What else?
That is wisdom.
Wait, to fear God, that is wisdom.
Yes.
Why? Because he's going to share it with you and show you how to watch out so you don't get your head bust. How to serve him. What to do. How to bob and weave, duck and dodge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read.
And depart from evil is understanding.
And departing from evil is understanding. When the Ninevites did it, there was understanding. When Jonah did it, there was understanding. They understood one thing. If we don't do what God say, he gonna kill us. That's understanding. That's why I say that's the fear of God, the great motivation, because it's going to motivate you. Either it is or you're going to find out that you numb to serving God. You don't have no fear. And the Lord got a place for the tough guys. He got a place for everybody that's tough and that's solid. Let's go to let's go to Proverbs, the 8th chapter. Proverbs chapter 8. Because none of us can tell where they come from. Lightning and all that rain. Man can't deal with none of that. We ain't got the power to deal with that. We cut ourselves off from it. Proverbs, the 8th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 17. And then we're going to jump. Proverbs 8 and verse 17. Remember how the Lord say he love you, and people say that God say he love you in spite of yourself. Let's see if that's true. Now this is Solomon talking. He should know because he said it's the wisest king we had and the richest outside of Jesus that walked this earth. But 17, so in other words, ain't no man on the face of this earth that got more money than Solomon had. None. And there was none that was wiser than him. I don't care what kind of computers, watches, whatever they make. He said, ain't none of them wiser than this guy. Why? Because man don't have the fear. And they don't depart from evil to get the capacity of understanding to do that. So now, 8 and 17. Go ahead and read, brother.
I love them that love me.
No, that ain't true, brother. God love you anyway, right?
No.
Whether you a sinner or not. Go ahead and read that one more time.
I love them that love me.
Wait a minute. So I've been duped. Go ahead and read that one more time, brother.
I love them that love me.
And what did he say?
And those that seek me early shall find me.
And the ones that seek me early shall find me. He ain't finna be chasing looking for you. He trying to see if you seeking after him. And then guess what he gonna do? He gonna bring you to Jesus Christ. And like-minded individuals. Jump up to verse 13 and read, brother, verse 13.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
Wait a minute. What is the fear of the Lord, brother?
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
That's simple right there. He said all you have to do is hate sin. You fear God, because guess what? Now you ain't going to step on his toes. Go ahead and read. What else?
Pride and arrogancy and the evil way and the forward mouth do I hate.
This is what Solomon said he hated. He said, listen, he said, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy. Because you got people like that, so prideful, arrogant. And the evil way and the forward mouth do I what? He said, do I hate? What you mean? He said he hate that type of stuff. So that means, should you hate the individual? No, it's the ways, right? Let's go take a look at this. Let's go to 1 John, the 3rd chapter. 1 John, the 3rd chapter. He gonna tell you, no, you don't hate the individual. He just said the evil way, not person. Sometimes we get that mixed up and we start hating individuals. And we don't know we separated from God already doing it. Because pretty soon you're going to end up doing something to somebody that you hate. If you don't believe me, ask Cain when you see him taking a dive. First John chapter 3 and verse 15. 1 John 3 and verse 15. That's all we want is the 15th verse. Because he said the evil way, and he said that's what the Lord, he said the evil way, that's what we're supposed to hate, right? Mm-hmm. But go ahead and read, brother, 3 and 15.
Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Wait a minute, you hate your brother is a what?
Is a murderer.
And ye what?
And ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him.
So you can't hate the individual. You can't. He said you just got to hate that evil way, that sin. That's what we read when the people get it confused in the gospel. When they tell you to hate your mother, your father, and all that, you read it in the other part. It tell you don't hate them, but it tell you if you love them more than him. No, he telling you to hate the evil that the people have on them, the sin. In other words, depart from that stuff. You're not supposed to like that. How am I going to love God, but I'm loving being around sin at the same time? That's a contradiction. That's hypocrisy. So now let's move forward. Let's take it to another step further. Let's go to James, the 2nd chapter. James chapter 2. Unless you trying to help and you trying to win somebody over, that's a different story. James chapter 2. James chapter 2. Because you can always do that. You can help somebody. You know, you can help somebody over. Well, try to win them over. Even in that, you still got to be careful, though. Mess around, go home, and be talking just like everybody else say. The book say evil communication corrupt what? Good manners. Sit there long enough, somebody gonna learn from somebody. So you gotta watch out for that. James 2, read verse 19. Let's see who else fear God. 2 and 19. Go ahead.
Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well.
Yes.
The devils also believe and tremble.
Wait a minute, brother. Read that one more time now.
Thou believest that there is one God.
And we believe that there is one God, one Godhead. Go ahead.
Thou doest well.
Yes.
The devils also believe and tremble.
The devils also believe, and guess what they doing? Trembling. Satan already know his end, but he's still afraid. That's crazy. And powerful, yep. Let's go to Philippians, the 2nd chapter, because now Paul finna tell us, look, with knowing all this, this is what we should do. This is what we should do. Philippians chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2, and we're going to pick it up at verse 12. Two and verse 12. I mean, Paul be talking, boy. He be at it. No, he studied up. 2 and verse 12. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence.
Yes, sir. He said, you ain't just putting on when I'm around. He said, but when I'm gone, you still doing what you're supposed to do. Fear the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Doing what?
With fear and trembling.
With fear and trembling. So if if the devils are smart enough to do it and they believe, why aren't we? And they got a designated place to go. Go ahead and read, brother.
For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do his good pleasure.
Yes, sir. What else?
Do all things without murmurings and disputings.
That's right, brother. What else?
That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world.
Look at all that stuff he said, man. He said, first of all, do all things without murmuring and disputings. Why it's always got to be controversy and murmuring? He said, do everything without that. Sometimes I lose my whole drive if a person is like that. Or people like that. I can't even do nothing now. Like, hold on, man. I was about to get into it. Now I got all that controversy. Come on, man. Can't we do this without all the extra drama with it, right? Then he said that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, meaning the rest of the world, they are already evil, and they watching you. He said, which we shine as lights and where at? In the world. Ain't that what he told us? What we holding, brother? Go ahead.
holding forth the word of life,
What you got in your hand? The word of life. Go ahead.
that I may rejoice in the day of Christ,
Yes.
that I have not run in vain.
Oh, that I didn't run in vain. I wasn't here just playing, acting with this thing. I was really trying to get my salvation. Go ahead.
Neither labored in vain.
Neither did I labor in vain. Why? Because I was fearing God for real. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2. You can fool man, but guess who you can't fool? You can't fool God. That's the one that can read the mind. That's the one that try the reins, as the book say in Jeremiah 17. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2, because this is where he got it from. This is where Paul got that from that we just read. Because they didn't have the New Testament around when he was doing all that talking. It was the Old Testament he would quote. And we about to prove that right now. Psalm 2 and verse 10. Psalm 2 and verse 10. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read. Let's see who he instruct first. Go ahead.
Be wise now, therefore, O you kings.
Oh, ye what?
O you kings.
All the ones that's running this world. He said, listen, O kings, because if the kings listen, the people will turn. If the administrations turn from their wickedness and drop it, everybody else ain't got a choice. But go ahead and read.
Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling.
Ain't that what Paul just said? He just told us to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. That's where he got it from. Go ahead and read verse 12. Why he tell us that? Go ahead.
Kiss the Son, lest he be angry.
Do what to him?
Kiss the Son.
Kiss the Son. You know how you be saying, man, you brown nose. You just kissing, tail. Yeah, the one named the Son, that's who you should be kissing up to. That's who you should be following behind. That's the one you should be trying to please in brown nose right there. Jesus the Christ. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
Lest he be angry.
Yes.
And ye perish from the way.
Yes, sir. When what?
When his wrath is kindled but a little.
He said, ask Jonah. He'll tell you. You don't believe Jonah? Go to Nineveh. They'll tell you. 40 days I gave them, and they was about to be dust. But they turned from their ways. But what else? Did you finish? Go ahead and read. I'm sorry.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him.
What he call us? Blessed. If we put our trust in the Son. Who is the Son? Jesus the Christ. People want to argue about names and all that. Look, the one I can read out this book say Jesus Christ. We can read every word in there, but when they get to Jesus, it don't mean what it's supposed to say. You read Satan and devil, but when you read Jesus, it's just, you can't touch that name so much. Man, this is crazy. The foolishness we have in us. I know one brother that I had to help out through the years, Will. Because Will used to hurt. He had no tolerance for nobody ain't want to deal with the name Jesus. He and Timmy Kevin, they was on my page. Man, I had to leave them dudes start talking about he don't believe the name Jesus, you gone. I said, hold on, Will, wait, not so fast, bro. We got to deal with that. And that's a lot of it still in him. Why? Because he understands about the name. Y'all making the biggest problem out of nothing. It's about the message. And you worried about Jesus' name. Either way it go, you going skinny dipping. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter. This is why man don't fear God right here. This is one of the main reasons they don't fear. Because we say we getting away with it. I know Will ain't got no problem with me using that situation. Ain't much he can do about it, no way. Yes, sir. It's recorded now, brother. Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter. Pick it up at verse 11, brother. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11. 8 and verse 11. Go ahead.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Wait, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. That means the Lord sometimes he ain't gonna, you can do something, don't mean he gonna go right upside your head right away. He can be waiting. He can be letting it collect. Or he can be giving you space to correct yourself. Go ahead and read. What else?
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Because he let them, they taking his kindness. Y'all know they're saying, taking my kindness for weakness. No, you can't do that. Go ahead and read. What else?
Though a sinner do evil 100 times,
yes,
and his days be prolonged.
He said, even though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, you see him getting by, getting over. And you like, wait a minute, maybe this thing about God ain't so true then, because they having fun. They getting a bag. They in it. Go ahead and read.
Yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God.
Wait a minute. I know that it shall be well with them that fear God. Read.
Which fear before him.
Go ahead.
But it shall not be well with the wicked.
It ain't going to be well with the wicked. Go ahead.
Neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow.
Go ahead.
Because he feareth not before God.
The Lord said, I'm going to get him. Where can you go? God ain't in a rush. Where can you go at the end of the day when it's him, the creator? He's like, oh, that's nothing. I'm trying to save you anyway. And that's scary. Let's go to Psalm, the 25th chapter. Psalm chapter 25. I mean, the book filled with fear. It's all in the New Testament, people. And I'm like, how y'all getting around it? Easy. Just don't read the passage. Or you get them strange type of Bibles that ain't a KJV. They're speaking putting other words there. Or remove a whole passage out of it. NIVs and all that different stuff. I done did my research on type of stuff like that. You know, when you studied up on that, you already know where to go and where to stay. You know. But Psalm 25, and pick it up at verse 14, brother. Psalm 25 and verse 14. When you get it, go ahead and read.
The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him.
Wait a minute. The secret of the Lord is with them that what, brother?
That fear him.
Oh, it's with us that fear him, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And he will show them his covenant.
He showed us the covenant. We read it. We opened up with it. Exodus, the 20th chapter, verse 1 through 17. We know that's peace. Go ahead and read. What else?
Mine eyes are ever toward the Lord.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For he shall pluck my feet out of the net.
So when it's time for them to get tripped up, he gonna make sure I don't go in that net. He gonna pluck my feet clean up out of it. He got my back. So the Lord ain't telling us to fear him for nothing. He's saying it because I will do you harm. You don't belong to yourself. I shed my blood for it. Jesus told you he bought you for a price. In Acts the 20th chapter tell you what that price was. Blood. Even the book of Revelation, it tell you Jesus' blood is what the price was. He purchased us with his blood. That's why this thing right here is so serious to him. Say, I didn't come down and die for nothing. Are you out your mind? No, sir. Let's go to Amos, the 3rd chapter. Amos, the 3rd chapter. Lord said, it ain't going to work that way. That's why it's righteous for the Father to do what? Allow Jesus to do all the judging. Because we can say to the Father, hey, guess what? You ain't walked a mile in my shoes. You don't know what it's like to have his flesh on and to be tempted. And guess what? He got to say, you know what? You right. But say it to Jesus. He going to say, no, yeah, I do know what it was like. 33 and a half years. You ain't read the record. I was there. That's why I tell you, he kissed the Son. That's the one. Amos 3, and we're going to pick it up at verse 7. 3 and 7. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
Surely the Lord God will do nothing.
He will do nothing except what? Go ahead.
But he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets.
He gonna let the prophets know what's going on. Go ahead.
The lion hath roared. Who will not fear?
If the lion roar, who ain't gonna fear? Man, them things roar on TV and I'll be still shook. And they way in Africa somewhere. Half the times when I'm watching them on the television. And I can just imagine equating that with Jesus coming back. You roar like that and all that bass is coming. And then all that power it possess. Go ahead and read. He said, who will not fear? Go ahead and read.
The Lord God hath spoken.
That's right.
Who can but prophesy?
The Lord God hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? Let's look at a person that feared when they heard the Lord and that just, they knew what the Lord was going to do. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk. The book of Habakkuk. Because he was afraid, Job was too. He said, Lord, remember me. Give me a set at the set time. Remember me and call me up. Just make sure you remember my name. Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter. Now Habakkuk finna take us through some events. And he finna show us, guess what? Not only was Job afraid to remember him. Hey, man, I heard about that record too. And if you ain't shaking and trembling, something wrong with you. I was just telling Dan not too long the other day. No, he was over my house the other day. And I told him, I said, man, I get scared and I get weary sometimes. Tears was coming in my eyes. We shared some words with each other. Because I understand the book say the ones that got that wisdom, man, to which wisdom is much grief and sorrow. Because you know how this thing gonna go. You afraid. Not only for yourself, but for the world. Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, and start at verse 1. Because before the Lord come, it's a lot of events that still gonna happen. And people ain't even prepared. And what I mean by prepared is they ain't even tuned in with God. Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, pick it up at verse 1. Thinking it's a game. Go ahead and read, brother.
A prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet upon Shigionoth.
Yes.
O Lord, I have heard thy speech.
I've heard your speech, Lord. What else?
And was afraid.
And was a what, brother?
I was afraid.
That mean he feared. Go ahead.
O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy.
Wait a minute. He said, even in your wrath, remember. He said, remember mercy. He said, be merciful unto some of us. He said, even in your wrath, do that, please. Skip down to verse 10, brother, and read.
The mountains saw thee, and they trembled.
The mountains saw thee, and they trembled. Have y'all? The mountains ain't even moving out there right now. He said, but when they see him, they gonna tremble. We don't have to believe it. The book said it's gonna happen. If you still living, you might see it. Go ahead.
The overflowing of the water passed by.
Yes, sir.
The deep uttered his voice.
The deep uttered his voice. What else?
And lifted up his hands on high.
Go ahead.
The sun and moon stood still in their habitation.
Wait a minute. The sun and the moon stood still in their habitations. Read.
At the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of their glittering spear.
Yes.
Thou didst march through the land in indignation.
Wait, he said you marched through the land in indignation. He talking about the Lord now. Go ahead.
Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger.
You threshed the heathen in anger. Go ahead and read.
Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people.
Yes, sir.
Even for the salvation with thine anointed.
That's right. Go ahead.
Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked.
Yes, sir. Even every person that ruled over a country and that did not bow down, he said he wounded the head of them. Go ahead and read.
By discovering the foundation unto the neck. Selah.
He said, by discovering the foundation unto the neck, Selah. Skip down to verse 16. We ain't done. Go ahead.
When I heard, my belly trembled.
He said, when I heard, my belly trembled. What about his lips?
My lips quivered at the voice.
Oh, what about the rottenness, the rottenness in his bones? Go ahead.
Rottenness entered into my bones.
Yes.
And I trembled in myself.
If you don't feel that way when you read this book and the Lord don't put that fear on you, something is wrong. There's a problem. Because this God is on a mission. He tried to bring nothing but peace and love and still trying, but we keep turning away from him. We don't want to have nothing to do with him. What else he say, brother?
That I might rest in the day of trouble.
Yes, sir. Read.
When he cometh up unto the people.
Yes, sir.
He will invade them with his troops.
He going to invade them with his what?
With his troops.
With his what?
With his troops.
With his troops. He talking about an army right there. He ain't playing. We think he is, but he's not. Skip down to verse 18, brother. Read.
Yet will I rejoice in the Lord.
Yes.
I will joy in the God of my salvation.
I'm going to joy in the God of my salvation. That's why he told him I want to rest in that day. Me, I'm a little bit nosy. I tell the Lord, hey, keep me around, but keep me in a safe place where I don't get crushed. But I want to be able to see some of these things he's talking about. That's the danger that my mama told me I always had, wanting to be nosy. Because I want to see. Let's go to Luke, the 12th chapter. But that's why I be very, very detailed with my prayer when I'm asking God for stuff. Take me a long time, too. Because I'm trying not to forget. I'm making sure he understands. Something slipped. I got to make sure I clean that up, even though the Lord knows. He know what you're trying to get off, even if you don't say it, he know. You think it, he know it. Luke, the 12th chapter, let's pick it up at verse 4. Luke chapter 12 and verse 4. 12 and verse 4. Now here come Jesus talking. This is in what, y'all? Red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who talking when it's in red?
Jesus.
Jesus, right? Let's see what he say. Go ahead and read.
And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them. They kill the body.
Wait a minute. He said, be not afraid of them that kill the body. Go ahead.
And after that, have no more that they can do.
After that, they done. Go ahead and read.
But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear.
But I'm going to tell you who you should fear, though. Go ahead.
Fear him, which after he hath killed, hath power to cast into hell.
Wait a minute. After he had killed you, he can raise you up. Then he can cast you to a place called hell. We're gonna find out what that is. Because if he says something about it, then we need to find out what it's talking about. But he told us, don't worry about the one that can kill us, right? He said, but worry about the one that can kill you but raise you up. That's the one that's the one that you're supposed to be afraid of. Let's go to Psalm, the 56th chapter. Because David gonna say the same thing too. He gonna tell you, don't be afraid of man. Because sometimes we do that the wrong way. We're afraid of man to approach man, but then we won't. But we'll, close the door in the face of God. We're sin on top of God. Psalm 56 or the 56th Psalm. And we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Psalm 56 and 4. Go ahead and read, brother.
And God will praise his word.
And God, I will praise his word. Go ahead.
In God I have put my trust.
Yes.
I will not fear what flesh can do unto me.
Oh, so David agreed. Go ahead and read, bro.
Every day they wrest my words.
That means they twist my words. Go ahead.
All their thoughts are against me for evil.
Yeah, all their thoughts are against me for evil. Even when you don't know people doing it and they doing it behind your back, it's all good. God said he know. God know what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
They gather themselves together. They hide themselves.
Yes.
They mark my steps when they wait for my soul.
They mark my steps when they wait for my what, brother?
My soul.
They got me set up. But skip down to verse 11, brother, and read.
In God have I put my trust.
Yes, sir.
I will not be afraid what man can do unto me.
Listen, he said, in God will I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto who? Unto me. So now, let's take it a step further. Let's bag up. Chapter 34. Chapter 34. It's one of the quietest lessons we done had, ain't it? Ain't that something when the Lord can just make everybody just keep their mouth closed when you read this book, right? Can't even praise God, you so scared, right? Gotta do it up here. One of the quietest, don't ain't seem like nobody in there. We just came up here and started practicing being robbed. Let's just go up to the church, brother, start reading the book to ourselves. 34 and verse 7. That's a good thing. 34 and 7. Go ahead and read.
The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him.
Oh, he gonna keep that hedge around them that what? Fear him. Go ahead.
And delivereth them.
Yes.
O taste and see that the Lord is good.
Yes.
Blessed is the man that trusteth in him.
That's right, brother. What else?
O fear the Lord, ye his saints, for
yes.
there is no want to them that fear him.
Oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints. There is no want to them that fear him. In other words, you don't lack for nothing. The Lord got your back. Even like I say, if it's a pack of hot dogs or a pack of noodles, you still got your back. You didn't go to bed hungry.
Say that. Say that.
May not have been no steak, T-bone steak. You might have wanted it, but that ain't what you get. But go ahead and read. What else?
The young lions do lack
Yes.
and suffer hunger,
Go ahead.
but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing.
That's right, brother. One more. Go ahead.
Come, ye children, hearken unto me.
Come, ye children, and listen unto me. Go ahead.
I will teach you the fear of the Lord.
So in order for us to get taught the fear of the Lord, we got to come before him and get taught it.
Yes, yes.
Keep the commandments. Bow down your neck. Act like you read when you see fear there. Don't try to rush past it like you don't want, no, let me go somewhere else. No, finish reading that chapter. It was a reason your hand flipped over there and you start seeing fear. It was a reason for that. I'm telling you because I do it. And when it said, it's a reason I'm over there getting shook and feared. Let's go to chapter 50. Chapter 50. He said, come, let the Lord teach us the fear. Psalm, the 50th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 22. And after that, we're going to go deal with that hell that Jesus was talking about. Because you read in what you call them, the Jehovah Witnesses book, they took that whole chapter out of there. You read that, you be like, wait a minute. When I pick up the KJV, they say that. But when I read that, this one don't say it. But now, Psalm 50 and verse 22. 50 and verse 22. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
Now consider this. Ye that forget God.
He said, he said, consider this the ones that forget God. You know, we forget God when we, high and mighty. Lord tell you when he bless you and give you all them little things, them little trinkets. He said that when his real turn ain't back. That's when Jeshurun got waxed fat and kicked. Lord give you a little something, now you done forgot all about him. Tithes? What you mean tithes? I ain't got to do that, do I? Give me the breakdown on what tithes really mean. Well, hold on to that little change, don't we? Go ahead and read, brother. What verse we at?
We at 22.
Go ahead.
Lest I tear you in pieces.
Yes.
And there be none to deliver.
And there be none to do what? Deliver. The Lord say, tear you in pieces. Who does that but a lion? A lion does that. He tears prey into pieces. Go ahead.
Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me.
Yes, sir. And to him what?
And to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God.
And the one that said his, not just order his conversation aright, to his conduct, set it in order. That's the one I'm going to show the salvation of God. I'm going to show them the ones that's doing that. But the one that forget me, he said, I'm going to turn them into what? Pieces. Let's go to Mark the 9th chapter. Mark chapter 9. A little more terror and then everybody can breathe. Ride home with that seatbelt on extra tight today. Won't be running no stop signs and dipping today, will you? Gonna be on extra cautious, boy. That's how the Lord is, man. The Lord wake you up. This is a blessing. Mark the 9th chapter. and pick it up at 43. Mark chapter 9 and verse 43. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
And if thy hand offend thee, cut it off.
Who is this talking?
Jesus.
Because it's in red, right?
Yes.
That's why I always say that. Go ahead.
It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands to go into hell.
Into what?
Into hell.
Go ahead. What did this place got?
Into the fire that never shall be quenched.
This hell right here is talking about a place that has fire that won't be quenched. It won't go out. So if the fire never quenched, does that mean you gonna be gone? No. That means somebody got to stay around as long as that fire is burning, right?
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
Where their warm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
He said even a worm that's going to be there, he is not going. He said he ain't even going to die, and the fire is not going to be quenched. So the worm even going to have a good time. Eating on the body. Go ahead.
And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off.
Yes, sir.
It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell.
Go ahead.
Into the fire that never shall be quenched.
That's the second time he done said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Read.
Where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
Where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched. Go ahead.
And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter the kingdom of God with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire.
In other words, if any of your members in your body offend and get you to cross God, he said, make sure you get that in order. He ain't telling you go cut your hand off now. We don't want nobody to be at home calling and saying, hey, the Israel of God told me. That's why I'm in the emergency room. They told us to cut a hand off, and they read it to me. Pluck my eye out, so I got to go there with a patch. No. He telling you to get that thing in order. Go ahead and read. What else?
Where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
No, sir. Go ahead.
For everyone shall be salted with fire.
That's all we needed, though. He said, look, where the worm died not, and the fire is not quenched. Why did he say that 3 times? Because it's important. It's important. Let's go look at this place. Isaiah, the 66th chapter. He said, surely he will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. If the prophets know it, go read what the prophets say. And the prophets going to tell you what it do. Isaiah 66, and we're going to pick it up at verse 22. Isaiah 66 and verse 22. When I learned I couldn't get away with nothing, nothing, I just said, hey, I might as well be a young old man and chill. Count the days and just watch. Because what else can you do? This world filled with trouble. Mm-hmm. And it's only the temperature just going to rise, the gauge. It's only going to continue to get worse. Isaiah 66 and verse 22. 66 and verse 22. Go ahead and read, brother.
For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain.
Yes, sir. The Lord say, I'm going to tear up this earth. Because remember, heaven's going to roll back like a scroll and all that. So he ain't going to do nothing but come back, clean it up. He said, but as the earth remain, go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another.
Yes. And that one new moon is about the beginning of a month. Go ahead and read.
And from one Sabbath to another.
Yes.
Shall all flesh come to worship before me.
And why do they have to do that month from 1 month to another? Because he now have reinstituted his priesthood now. He got his priests. If we read up some, even in 65, he'll start talking about it there. And that's when the Gentiles gonna bring you up as a gift. Lord, like, the one that was standing on the corner that didn't have no sense and didn't know. And he's scared for his life now. Yep. Time for you to come get on your real job. Put these priestly garments on and get busy. But go ahead and read. He said from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another. If you got to keep the Sabbath then, what they tell you today?
Got to keep it now.
You never took it off the table. That's why he said, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. He must knew somebody was going to forget today. Lord said they going to forget. Tell them to remember. Go ahead and read.
Shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord.
Yes, son. What else?
And they shall all go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me.
Wait a minute now. He said they're going to look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. What else?
For their worm shall not die.
Wait, ain't that what Jesus said?
Mm-hmm.
There go another witness. In the mouth of two or three, he shall a fact be established. To the law and to the testimony. Ain't that what he said?
Yes.
The worm died not. What else? Go ahead.
Neither shall their fire be quenched.
Go ahead.
And they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh.
People going to be going up there trying to look at who is these men that he talking about. Let's go to Revelation, the 19th chapter, and go look at these men. Because it's two of them that's there. That's why he said men and not one man. Or he didn't say all the people, because guess what? There's going to be a second resurrection. Revelation, the 19th chapter, we're going to pick it up at verse 11. After that, we got two more, and the terror dome is over. Got to mix it up. Just wait and balance. The Lord say he love it. Got to mix it up. Revelation 19, pick it up at verse 11, brother. 19 and 11. Go ahead and read.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse.
Yes.
And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Yes.
And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
Wait a minute. He judge and he make war. He going to be sitting in that third heaven looking. Go ahead and read.
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
Yes, sir.
And on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew, but
That's
he
right.
himself.
But he himself. Go ahead.
And he was clothed.
So wait a minute. For the Israelites that want to talk about his name is this and his name is that. Listen, he got a name that don't nobody know right here. So what's your beef about? He coming to make war. You don't even know the name. And you going to be running, high-telling it, or already dead. One or the other. Go ahead and read.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood.
Yes.
And his name is called the Word of God.
Oh, they call him the Word of God. And his vesture already dipped in blood. Where that blood come from? Go ahead.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses.
Didn't he say his troops was going to come tread through the land?
Yes.
That's what Habakkuk saying. Go ahead.
Clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword.
Read.
That with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron.
Yes, sir. Go
and
ahead.
he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of Almighty God.
Whoa, that's scary. He gonna tread it, the wine press. All you have to think about is when they do it with the grapes, and they in there, and all that stuff is coming out from the bottom of the gates or the door door, and you got all that wine coming up out of there. He said that's how the blood is gonna be. And he said up to the horse's bridle, they gonna reach. Go ahead and read.
And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written,
Yes.
King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowl that fly in the midst of heaven,
Yes.
come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God.
Oh, you've been eating on the animals. Now it's time for them to eat on you. See how the tables turn? You love the fowls so much, now the fowls finna get you. Go ahead and read.
That ye may eat the flesh of kings.
Yes.
And the flesh of captains.
Yes.
And the flesh of mighty men.
And what else?
And the flesh of horses.
Yes, sir.
And of them that sit on them.
Yeah.
And the flesh of all men, both
yes.
free, bond, both small and great.
Whether you're in jail or you free, don't matter. Go ahead.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies.
He saw the beast, right?
Yes.
This beast is one individual. And this is the one that represents the head of that army. Go ahead and read.
And the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
So they coming against Jesus to fight. Go ahead and read.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet.
That's man right there, right?
Yes.
Because one was just a man. Now you got two. That includes plural, meaning man, right? So you got two of them. What are you finna do with them, brother?
That wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast.
Yes, sir.
And them that worshipped his image.
What he do with them?
These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Y'all see that? That's what they saw over in Isaiah 66. He said when he come back, that's what they gonna see. After they go up there from month to month and from Sabbath to Sabbath. And they gonna get a chance to look. And they gonna see. And if you got the nerve and the gall to go ahead and transgress after that, something really wrong with you. So now, let's move forward. Let's go to Malachi, the 3rd chapter. And we got one more after that. Malachi, the 3rd chapter. We had to show you who the man was right there. The beast and a false prophet. That's a shame. They beat Satan in the lake of fire. And it was made for Satan and the angels. So Satan when he go dipping in there, it's gonna be 3 of them in there. And that's your Trinity right there, because the book don't teach no Trinity. 2 in a Godhead right now. So Malachi, the 3rd chapter, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 16. 3 and verse 16. See, they don't tell you about that with Santa Claus. He gonna give you the gift whether you're naughty or not. Oh, no. That ain't got nothing to do with God. God ain't, he gonna give you he gonna give the wages of what you work for. To my Santa Claus. He come at a 10 time, checking his list, checking it twice. Who naughty or not? Yeah, I know. See how I can quote that? Still in your mind from years ago. Still programmed in your mind. 3 and verse 16. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another. The Lord
so
hearkened.
Listen, the ones that feared, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another. All of us in here, we fear the Lord. We speaking one towards another. We supposed to open up this book. What's that talking about? What that talking about? How do I get to this? How do I get to that? What about this? What about that? Go ahead and read, brother.
And the Lord hearkened and heard it.
Yes, sir.
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them.
So a book of remembrance was written for them called, that's the book of the life right there. Go ahead and read.
For them that feared the Lord.
Yes, sir.
And that thought upon his name.
That's how we are. Your name is written in that book. The Lord ain't going to throw you in no fire. You got a reward with him. Go ahead.
And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts.
Yes, sir. What are you going to do?
In that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him.
Remember, he said he was going to make sure your foot don't get caught in that net like everybody else. Go ahead and read.
Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not.
We can do that right now by opening up this book. We can tell. All you have to do is go to the grocery store, follow somebody, see what they pick up. Once you see that, oh, gotcha. Or go out there today, see where they at and what they doing. They out there, washing the car and all that type of stuff. You already know what time it is. But now, let's go to our last spot, Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. We opened up with one of these, and we're going to close with it. Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. And we're going to read 13 and 14. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Go ahead and read, brother.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments.
Yes, sir.
For this is the whole duty of man.
What you think it was created for? He said, this is your job to keep, this is the whole duty of man, period. If you under this heaven and you on this earth, your job is to keep these commandments. Go ahead.
For God shall bring every work into judgment.
Every work. Did he say some?
Every work.
Go ahead.
With every secret thing.
Even the stuff that you call secret. Okay, only I know about this. Or only we know about this. No, don't work that way. Go ahead.
Whether it be good or whether it be evil.
He said it don't matter whether it be good or whether it be evil. It still got to be judged. You got to get the proper judgment for what it is that you did. So with that being said, the fear of God, that great motivation. If this don't motivate you, I don't know what will. So I hope y'all got something from it, and I thank you for your time.
Yes. Good luck.